Hello and welcome. I'm Tom. I'm joined up here on stage by Willow. Hi, Willow.
Hello everyone. Lovely to see so many people.
And we are just having a relaxed session of interactive image generation. We are in the Leonardo Discord community. The community here, we have about 15 to 20 users at the moment, all using the stage's text chat to make suggestions, ask questions, requests, and we'll see about incorporating some of those in our streaming today. I think I'm going to start with something I've been doing a lot recently, which is style reference. And just because I didn't have any veggies today, I'm going to start with some broccoli. I should have it somewhere. There we go. Pick the broccoli for the style reference, of course. Set it on ultra because I like my broccoli well done. Right. And then I need a prompt. Let's see, what haven't I not done as broccoli yet? I guess I could try for clouds. A style reference, in case you weren't aware, it is a feature that copies both colors and textures from the image you provide. This could be an image you've already generated yourself, or it could be an image you've uploaded. In my case, I've chosen broccoli because it has unique color and a recognizable texture. So I'm hoping that, since I'm prompting for large fluffy clouds here, that possibly the clouds will look a bit broccoli-esque. We shall see. And I'll go for one set on high as well, just to see what it looks like at not quite that strength. I guess this could be like a mushroom cloud in the texture of broccoli. Very interesting. But yeah, these are looking a bit more like I imagined them. Possibly for clouds. Clouds I might need to go a bit less, or a bit more subtle. Let's try medium. Well, I very much like the textures. They're not just, it's just not quite what I had envisioned when I was generating for broccoli clouds. But like, this is kind of cool. Mountains, clouds, partly green. And then here I'm on, what strength am I? Mid, still a mid. Interesting. I'll have to revisit the clouds at a later time. Anyway, let's take a suggestion from chat. I think I saw something earlier. I saw broccoli jellyfish being suggested. Interesting. I'm not the most optimistic about this working, but I'm willing to give it a go. The broccoli things I've generated so far have all been like fluffy, hairy creatures, and the style ref has replaced the hair with broccoli. So, prompting for a jellyfish which doesn't actually have hair, I'm curious if this is going to work. I should probably try it in diffusion as well, just to make sure. It's a bit more pricey, but it'll probably be worth it. Okay, so the jellyfish kinda look like moldy mushrooms? Interesting. Definitely a cool texture. Probably how I'd envision broccoli growing underwater. Nice idea. Now let's see how it looks with a more photographic model. Okay, yeah, these are definitely mushrooms now. Fun. Very nice. What else did anyone shout out for broccoli? Broccoli tree man is a request. How would I get a tree man? Let's see. Does Leonardo know what an ent is? I guess there's one way to find out. Actually, let's save this part, remove it, and go back to anime. Let's just, for safety, add the stream-friendly negatives. You can never be too sure. Ent, and then living tree with a face. And see what Leonardo thinks.
Can you explain to us what an ent is for those of us who don't know?
What the living trees in Lord of the Rings are called?
Oh,
I'm,
okay.
sh-
Yeah, that's why I
I'm
don't know.
sure there's other names for them in different fantasy settings, but the ones I know is Ents. Okay. So with the Anime XL, the results are strange. And there's definitely some kind of tree stump. Magical cave, lovely. Unwanted signatures and logos, always nice. And then now we've got a living tree with a face. I mean, it's focused a lot on the face. Nice broccoli sideburns. Marvelous. Yeah, let's try this. Wild West Gunslinger Cowboy Hat. And we're gonna see what broccoli does with that. Give him a revolver as well. This is dynamic, ultra strength, yep, and I'd like to do it with Leonardo diffusion as well. Okay, so our broccoli gunslinger cowboy with a revolver is pretty much exactly what I asked for. Lovely. Struggling a little bit with the revolver in some of them, but that's pretty normal. I can easily be fixed in canvas. As for the more photographic model, Leonardo diffusion, yeah, much more, I'd say, less broccoli. Which is why I went with the Leonardo Anime XL for starts. Okay, anything more for broccoli? A broccoli demon. Okay, so possibly the last prompt for broccoli before I move on to something else. Let's see what it does with this. And I'm gonna go back to anime and just leave out Leonardo diffusion for a moment, just because it costs a bit of tokens and I'd like to have some left over at the end of the month. How am I kidding? I'm too curious. Leonardo diffusion, here we go. Okay, first broccoli demons. Lovely, exactly what I asked for. Wings, horns, flaming trident. Two of them, nice. And for the photographic ones, let's check them out. Yeah, they're a bit more portrait oriented, I'd say. Kinda look like action figures. Again, I'm using a very, very short prompt. All I've written is Horned Demon, Wings, Flaming Trident, and then my usual prompt ender, which is detailed textures, extremely saturated because I love my colors, and best quality. And the rest was Leonardo's idea. Very good. Let me just check chat for any last broccoli ideas before I move on to something else. Okay, I thought that was an idea for a prompt, but no, that's just a recipe for a pizza. Thank you, Si, now I'm hungry. Let's move from style reference to a different image guidance type, which may have gotten slightly forgotten recently with all the cool new references coming out. And that is basic image to image. Remove the broccoli, although it will be back at a later point. And I've prepared some of the logos or color palettes I'm going to use. I'm going to use this one over here. I made this offline in just some random image editing software. All it is just a blank square image with 4 different colored squares on it. And I'm going to select image to image, the most basic one, at the lowest possible strength. Now the reference image is square. With image to image, it's important that you also prompt for a square, otherwise you're going to have a problem. So I'm going to go 1 to 1 here. Size doesn't really matter to me too much. And give me just a moment while I go grab my prompt. Everything's swapped around for me, don't need to do anything more. I swapped to the albedo base model, going with illustration as the alchemy preset, as well as dynamic afterwards, just to see both of them. The prompt is pop art style quartered grid, so like the 4 colors you saw earlier. I want 4 outlines of a guy, preferably 4 of the same, in different colors, and then I describe the hair, symmetrical mirrored grid, colorful, extremely saturated, detailed, best quality, same as always. Remember to swap to the image to image, lowest possible setting, 1 set of illustrations and 1 set of dynamics. And in the meantime, let me just give you guys both the source image I'm using, as well as the prompt, so you can try along if you like to. You don't always get success, but if we're looking at our images here, you get some that are pretty identical in different colors. Some of them look a bit unfinished, but that's also a nice effect that you might be going for. Very nice. And yeah, let's see. These are the dynamic ones. These are the more illustration ones. Very interesting. Sunglasses, same guy, consistent character in all four, although the lighting and colors isn't very favorable in the brighter ones. Very nice. And because I know this is going to be a question, this is compatible with character reference as well. So if I uploaded a selfie of myself with this image to image at the same time, that does work. You get 4 images of yourself in each of the squares. In fact, let's do that right now. Not with a picture of me. I don't think the internet is quite ready for a face reveal of me yet. But I have an image of Mr. Game of Thrones Jon Snow ready that I'm going to use instead. Character reference on medium, that should be enough. Keep the image to image at 0.1 strength. I've not changed the prompt at all, except for removing the hair, because that's what the character reference is for now. All I'm asking for is 4 outlines of man. And as you saw, the default man that Leonardo chose to give me is just basic dude. I'm going to go ahead and generate at square dynamic and at 1 second illustration. Okay, to answer the question, can I generate that in 916? The thing is, I'm using a square reference image in image to image. And that basically requires you to generate in the same aspect ratio. Otherwise, you're going to get like ugly borders or black edges in your images, which you'd like to avoid. So when you're using basic image to image, it's recommended generating in the same aspect ratio, the same horizontal or vertical or square as the image you're providing. Okay, so here are our first images. These are looking a bit more photographic because this is the alchemy dynamic. Let's just check out these two here. You've got the exact guy playing Jon Snow 4 times, character reference doing a marvelous job. This is another example, slightly different hairstyle, but exactly the same face. Very nice. Slightly different style, although again the same. I really like this prompt. And yeah, as you can see with the image of this guy I provided, character reference makes consistent characters great. And it does work with selfies as well. These are the more illustrative ones. Illustration pipeline of alchemy. I'm not a fan of the half purple, half pink, but that's 1 out of the 8 images that did that. Not a bad result. This one's good. It looks like it desaturated the color slightly, but in exchange I got a bit more focused outlines. Very nice. This prompt was possibly coincidentally discovered at the same time that there was a daily contest going on in our Discord, the pop art daily theme. I saw an image I liked. I asked the creator of that image if I could borrow their prompt, and then I worked my way from there. I added my own little touches to it, and then I gave it back. And this is what came out. What I found with this reference image here, these colors aren't the most saturated ones. It's not the typical red, blue, green, yellow that you know from the Windows flag, for example. I found when I used more saturated colors, like exactly the Windows flag color scheme, Leonardo didn't really want to put the faces over those colors, so it didn't work out too well. So if you're gonna do this thing that I'm doing now, I recommend going with slightly desaturated colors. Or possibly not the most, how do you want to say it, not going for primary colors too much. Just an observation if you're doing this. So there's several things happening in our Discord server at the moment. First and foremost, the World Cup is a thing. Phase 2 is wrapping up. In the 13 teams were asked to generate assets for video games, which is a cool and interesting theme. Very many applications in real life as well. The images were submitted and everyone is invited to vote for their favorites as many times as you like. I'm going to leave a link in the chat in case you didn't know where they were. Voting is open until, I believe, Monday morning US time-ish. I'm just going to leave the vote here. Vote for any team you like, and we'll see how World Cup Phase 3 progresses possibly next week. Next, we have a Westboard challenge active at the moment. This is the create art from a real-life photograph challenge. The aim of the game is to upload upload a photograph that you took and do something with it. That's basically all there is. Make something with a photograph. Either run it through one of the images or style references or canvas or whatever you like. Just do something with a photograph. And most importantly, show us what you did and how. These quests are used to write helpful guides for the community, so show your working. Visual ad this time. Let me swap over to the new UI, which is brand new since yesterday. Leonardo's image generation looks like this now. Everything's gotten a slight overhaul. It looks a bit different than you're used to. Not all the options are immediately visible to you. Some of them are hidden behind buttons. If you see any bugs or notice anything or don't notice anything, if you're missing features, feel free to make a suggestion or reach out to one of us VMods on the server and we'll get that reported correct forums. Yeah, it's brand new. You'll notice some things like the fine-tuned models, for example, are currently still missing. But as said, with every new feature, there are about to be kinks that are going to be worked out in the final version. Came out yesterday was the character reference, which we just used earlier to get Jon Snow's faces into our images. Very nice feature. Glad all the paid users now have access to it. Very nice. And what we learned today, to celebrate this feature and the new UI being made available to everyone, users are being given access to all the paid member features for a week from now, I believe, until the end of May.
That is correct, yes, till the end of the month.
Till the end of the month, all free users have access to the paid member settings. So be sure, as soon as your account is updated with access, to use it while you can. Get a feel for it. If you ever wanted a trial period before buying yourself a subscription, now is the perfect time. And finally, the last ad I have, we have a new channel in our Discord for theme suggestions, contest ideas for the daily, weekly themes or other contests. If you ever wanted to suggest your own contest themes, that's the place to do it. I've listed a link in chat, feel free to use that. Have fun. Suggest as many or as few as you like. We just did a bit of character reference. I guess we can stick with that. I'm gonna swap back over to legacy mode, which is the way to go back to the old UI, which currently I still prefer. I haven't quite gotten used to all the new button locations yet. Right, I'm gonna remove the image to image and just keep the character reference of, again, this is Kit Harington, the actor playing Jon Snow from Game of Thrones. I'll just remove this and completely new prompt. Just to show off this feature a bit more, I'm going to stick with Anime XL, currently my favorite model. Man sitting on balcony, and let's go with no longer squares. That's a good point. Go with illustration and with dynamic. And I believe I've not done anything wrong yet, although we'll see when the images come in. Okay, and the images have come. A good image to show off would probably be this one. As you saw in the reference image was a front-facing basic portrait, and with character reference, I've now gotten basically a side view. So this is a good example of a consistent character. I got a different pose, a different angle than the one I provided in image guidance. I like that very much. Here are the images where it looks slightly more photographic, the dynamic pipeline. And we've even got some seen from slightly above this time. Yeah. There's always some images that don't quite look like the face you provided, but it's good enough for me to neglect the few fails among the many successes. So this is a image, or well, this image that I saw was originally by Yoru. I asked them for their prompts because I found the perspective to be very unique. And I'm going to run with that prompt and the character reference to see what happens. I'm just gonna change it a bit because I don't want it to be a woman, I want it to be a man. Man rings the doorbell, viewed through a fisheye camera. I'm gonna leave everything as is. The only thing I changed was curious woman to man, and I'm hitting generate. And now I'm going to change the prompt slightly to something more along my prompting style, a slightly shorter. Right, so these are the images that came out with just Yoru's prompt. Perfect example of a fisheye camera, although the door being on the side is a bit wrong. Doesn't matter, can be fixed. Fisheye view, for those of you who don't know photography terms, is as if you're looking through a crystal ball, seeing everything kind of round and distorted, like almost like a panoramic camera or a 360-degree camera, if you've ever seen those. Yeah, it looks like basically like it's seen through a doorbell. Although this guy's doorbell camera seems to be inside his house, which does not make sense. And the consistent character is looking a bit distorted, I gotta say. Although not horribly. Looks a bit younger than I think he is. Very nice. Let's see how that looks in illustration, as well as in anime. So these are the illustrations. Yeah, the hands are slightly wrong. He looks so nervous in all of these. Funny. And the anime, yeah, you can definitely see the anime eyes coming through here. Yeah, that's basically the fisheye camera or fisheye view effect that I like. Right, let's check out another prompt I tried, in fact, yesterday I think it was, and it's simply man, rock climbing, that's it. Helmet harness, there you go. I tried this with a selfie of myself the other day, because I wanted to see how it looks like if I was hanging on a cliff, because I imagined those would be some neat perspectives. Let's go with vertical images for a change. Just the keyword rock climbing gives you some pretty interesting angles. Okay, it's chosen to forget the shirt in a lot of these images, but I guess that's kind of to be expected. Interesting. Yeah, rock climbing, I found the perspectives and angles are pretty unique, but you do occasionally get an additional arm, because they are holding on pretty tight in various angles sometimes. Can be a bit confusing for the AI. Okay, I've got to do something about these missing shirts, because that's kind of irritating me. Leather jacket. Not the most ideal thing to go rock climbing with, but it's gonna do. Sunglasses too, why not? Yeah, don't worry, if I have tested both of these things in advance. If I know something is quite risque, I will use the negative prompt. Because not every image result, even by accident, can be stream unfriendly. Okay, now he's no longer climbing, now he's just posing with the gear. Possibly. Let's see how that works. Experimentation. Okay, he's still just kind of posing. I guess I can try that out later again. It seems the added fashion items that I provided have confused the AI a bit. We got him rock climbing, he was just not wearing enough clothes at the time. Can be fixed later. Right, one more thing that I have experimented with character references. bobbleheads or Funko Pop figures. Got the prompt ready, and let me just check which model and all that stuff I used. Anime XL Alchemy Dynamic. So the new prompt is plastic chibi Funko Pop. Funko Pops are these not action figures, but like collectors minis, figurines, if you want to call them that. Don't need to describe the facial hair anymore because I've got character reference on. Armor, standing on a podium, white wall background, yes please, and then prompt ending, yep. So when I'm done with the Jon Snow character reference, I'm open to suggestions from chat about what I should try to generate next. If I can't pick out anything I like that interests me at the moment, I'll just go with whatever comes to mind first. But feel free to shout out some suggestions.
What was the difference between these two sets that you've done? Because that first set has done a really good job, whereas this second batch, it's kind of
The
mixed in a little bit, hasn't it?
good question. The only difference is vertical, horizontal. Nothing else
Ah,
changed.
okay. Interesting.
So the vertical ones all gave me pretty much one Funko Pop full body. I think, yeah, that's correct. Some of them are even on the podium I asked for. Whereas the horizontal ones struggled a bit more. I guess that's because the vertical sizes are typically more portraits or full bodies, whereas horizontals are usually landscapes. I guess that's one logical interpretation of what it's done.
Yeah, that's a good point. I
But
think
still,
whenever you want a full body, it's best to go with portrait, isn't it?
yeah, definitely. But hey, this is definitely Jon Snow. That's definitely recognizable. I mean, that's a bit too realistic. But yeah, that's definitely him. A bit more baby-faced than usual, but sure. So yeah, character reference, Funko Pops. I've made some of myself as well. I know what I want to do next. I'm gonna go back to style reference. What style do I fancy going with? I feel like going with one of my Galaxy ones. This is an image I've generated with Leonardo as well. I think all I prompted for was something like orange galactic constellations. And it gave me these, and now I'm using that image as style reference at ultra strength. I think I want to do I guess I'll do a red panda. Since the style reference has an orange color, I'm doing red panda as one word to hopefully avoid it recognizing red and getting confused with orange. Astral translucent red panda. Yeah, sure, let's just go with that. Let's see what Leonardo decides to do. And if it does something not ideal, I can work my way further from there. A very interesting style choice it got there. You can definitely see the influence of that galaxy image going through. I'm not sure I like it, but it's definitely unique. A lot of lightning. And this is illustration. Plain white background, interesting. They're not as cute as I'd hoped, so let's fix that. We'll go with illustration and dynamic again, as usual. And we're also gonna bump the style reference up all the way to maximum and do the same thing again. Okay, now this is our cute little red panda I was looking for. I made him chibi now. Kind of reminds me of something. It's hard to place. But I definitely like it. Let me just give you guys the style reference image in case you want to try it as well. The prompt is easy enough to remember. All I did was write astral translucent red panda chibi. And this is the style reference image if you wanted to try. I've got that in almost all the colors now. So this is dynamic at ultra strength. So cute.
It does remind me a little bit of a Petronius.
Patronus from Harry Potter.
Yeah, that's the one. Because it's floating and it's kind of got that glow of light round the outside.
I can see why you'd think that. Though those are usually just completely transparent and kind of white-bluish instead of orange. But yeah, definitely. Show it with even stronger resemblance. Okay, so the maximum dynamic ones didn't come out as good as I'd hoped. As for the maximum illustrations, yeah, kinda the same. It's cool, it's very saturated, it's exactly what I asked for, but in this case I think it's a bit much. We're gonna keep this YouTube recording a bit shorter. Let's give an outro for the YouTube, but don't worry, we're still going to be streaming on the Discord for another 20-ish minutes. So if you're watching this on YouTube, this is your encouragement to come join our Discord community to see even more of this content. Wink wink. Thank you for watching, and I hope you've learned something from our little stream.
See you later. Thank you, Thom.